Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the language of big business. Today we're diving into a Form 8K filing. It might sound like alphabet soup, but trust me. There's some juicy news inside about shares getting a growth spurt before we start. If you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below, so be sure to check it out. This Form 8K is like a corporate alert system. Companies use it to tell investors about significant events that could affect the company and its stock. Think of it as the business world's version of breaking news. This report is dated June 3rd, 2025, so that's the day the key event happened. This filing is from TNF Pharmaceuticals Inc. They are incorporated in Delaware and their phone number is 8056 8048 8698. Those are the important details to identify the company. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. We're looking at changes that impact the rights of people who own stock in the company, changes to how the business operates and votes that stockholders made. On June 3, 2025, TNF Pharmaceuticals had their annual meeting where they talked about important company business. One of the big things they voted on was to increase the number of shares the company is allowed to issue. This is called a share increase amendment. Basically, they're bumping up the number of common stock shares from 250 million to a whopping 1.25 billion. That's a huge jump. After the meeting on June 6, 2025, they officially filed this change with the state of Delaware. What does that mean? It means the company now has a lot more shares it can use to raise money, make acquisitions, or give to employees. They also approved a plan to let the company's leaders, the board of directors, increase the stated value of Series F convertible preferred stock and Series F1 convertible preferred stock and Series F1 convertible preferred stock and Series F1 convertible preferred stock. These are special types of stock. The board can raise the value of each share from $1,000 to potentially 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 $1,000 per share. Starting January 1, 2000, the Series F preferred stock automatically jumped to $1,000 to potentially $1,000 to potentially $1,025. Because of that green light, the price of the Series F preferred stock automatically jumped to $1,100 to potentially $1,155 to $1,250 price up to $1,000 to potentially $1,012 to potentially $1,012. Passive as of that green light, the price of the Series F preferred stock automatically jumped to $1,105 because SEP to $1,250. If you want all the nitty-gritty details, you can check out the company's official statement called a proxy statement filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's all public information, so you can read it yourself. At the meeting, people holding a total of 7,279,152 votes showed up, either in person online or by sending someone else to vote for them, which is called a proxy. However, holders of some of the special types of stock, the Series F1 and Series F preferred stock, couldn't vote on the proposal about those specific stocks. On the record date, which was March 25, 2025, there were almost 7.4 million shares of common stock that could be voted. There were also different series of preferred stock with varying voting rights. For example, the Series preferred stock had a lot of voting power, over 3.8 million votes. Now, for the results, let's break down how people voted on the main issues. First up, the election of directors. The company needed to elect 6 directors to serve for a year. Mitchell Glass got 5,243,025 votes for, with 200,931 votes withheld. Christopher C. Schreiber got 4,231 votes withheld. Christopher C. Schreiber got 5,242 votes, withheld 442, 7,029,127 vote. What 6 were 242 votes withheld. Jude Uzon 1 got 5,242,742 votes withheld. Jude Uzon 1 got 5,022,37,222 votes withheld. George Uzon 1 got 5,029,080 votes withheld. All 6 were re-elected to the board. Next, they voted to approve Stefanos Slack LLC as the company's accounting firm for 2025. 7,103,767 votes were against it, and 90,326 people abstained, which means they didn't vote either way. The next vote was about a reverse stock split. This is when a company reduces the total number of shares by combining them. In this case, the company's board of directors has the option to do a reverse stock split at a ratio between 1:2 and 1:100. That means they could combine every 2 shares into one or every 100 shares into one. This can make the stock price look higher. 641.19, 725 votes were for it. 846,409 times 7021 and means they could combine every 2 shares into one or every 10 and 13.5. Votes ready for 6,410 votes were against, and 13,725 votes were for 8046,410 votes were against, and 13,075 votes were for against, and 13,075 votes were for 8846,410 votes were against, and 141 against, and 13,725 votes were for it. 8846,410 votes were against. Then the vote about increasing the authorized shares of common stock, which we talked about earlier. 68,950 voted, 764 voted against, and 54 voted against, and 54 voted against, and 54 voted abstained. There was also a vote about whether to allow the annual meeting to be postponed if they needed more votes on any of the issues. 6,270,019 voted for it, 957,387,380 voted against. Finally, the vote about letting the board increase the value of the Series F and Series F1 preferred stock. 3,696 voted for it, 10,434 voted against, and 49,706 abstained. There were also 2,000 shares for clients didn't vote on this issue. If you are interested, you can check out the official documents, like the amendment to the company's official paperwork, its certificate of incorporation. Now, let's zoom out and think about what all of this means. Increasing the number of authorized shares gives TNF Pharmaceuticals more flexibility. They can use these shares to raise capital, potentially funding research and development or acquisitions. It's like expanding their toolbox. However, it could also dilute the value of existing shares, as each share represents a smaller piece of the pie. And the reverse stock split is a bit of financial maneuvering. If the company's stock price is too low, it can get delisted from major exchanges. A reverse split can artificially boost the price, making it compliant, but it doesn't fundamentally change the company's value. It's more like a cosmetic fix. Giving the board the power to increase the value of preferred as the smaller piece of the company, more control over its capital structure, making it compliant, but it doesn't fundamentally change the company's value. It's more like a cosmetic fix. After giving the board the power to increase the value of preferred stock can be seen as a way to reward or incentivize certain investors. It also gives the company more control over its capital structure. Overall, TNF Pharmaceuticals is making moves to give itself more financial flexibility. Whether these moves will pay off depends on how they use these new tools. Alright, that's our breakdown of TNF Pharmaceuticals' latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.